is Olayinka Bonnick, and I am the National Program Officer for Culture at UNESCO Caribbean, as well as the Creative Caribbean Project Coordinator. So to start out with, I would like to thank our host, the Ministry of Culture, as well as to acknowledge our partner who is here with us today. Thank you. Dr. Sonia Stanley Naya from the University of the West Indies. The Creative Caribbean project has been running for the last 4 years. And in those 4 years, we have granted 78 projects across 15 Caribbean countries in excess of $2 million. So I'm sorry, I don't have my speech, so I'm just going to speak off the top of my head. I hope that's okay. Now, the Creative Caribbean project is the first of its kind in this region. It's the first of its kind also in terms of the size of the grant portfolio. We were awarded 3 million euros, which is approximately $3.5 million. And we are one of 6 hubs across the world to have been given this funding, made possible by the European Union and the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States. The other 4 hubs are in Africa, and 1 is in the Pacific. And of these 6 hubs, the Caribbean received the smallest award of 3 million euros. However, we have granted the largest number of grants across the globe under this heading and under this program. It's a new approach, both for the EU and for the ACP. It is also new for us in this region, and it's also the largest project that the UNESCO office is managing at this point in time. So it's definitely a first for many of us and all of us involved. Also a very important initiative. And because with all first, as we know, many of us here are entrepreneurs, with all first, there will always be challenges. And we have had some challenges. But those challenges have taught us better, has made it possible for us to take that next step. And we are very proud to have been able to support the 78 different projects across the region, including Headline Entertainment, to bring you something as important as this workshop today. Now, many of us here are artists as well as entrepreneurs, but also, as our colleague said, this is not only for the artists, this is about the ecosystem. And the Creative Caribbean project is, as it's called, Creative Caribbean, an ecosystem for growth and development. And that was the focus of the work that we did. We were very much concerned and wanted to make sure that the ecosystem benefited. So this was not a project for artists only. This was also a project for anyone who was tangentially or directly associated with the artist. I always like to give the example of the physiotherapist who specialized in working with dancers. That person is a part of the creative ecosystem. And so when we look at the broad spectrum of projects that we have funded projects that look at migration in the Caribbean and how through the arts we can support that and make migration something that is a lot easier, specifically within the Dominican Republic and Haiti. We know that there's a lot of challenges when it comes to crossing those borders. We funded a project in the Dominican Republic that looks specifically at that. We've funded projects that have been innovative to the point where even we thought to ourselves, wow, we didn't actually know that we had this depth of innovation in our region. And so it has been a broad brush, but it's also been very specific. And as I like to say to the grantees, you were awarded not because the almost 400 applications that we received were not any good. You were awarded because you were the best of the best. Really, the projects that came across our desk were exceptional. And it really demonstrated the depth and the breadth of the creative and cultural innovation of our region. And it's something that I'm very proud to have had the opportunity to lead along with my colleagues from UNESCO and from UE and CARICOM. And although we are at the end of this initiative, it actually ends on August 31st, I would like to encourage all of you here to continue to support and to work with each other. One of the key elements of our project, the Creative Caribbean project of the Caribbean Hub, is that we took an inclusive approach to ecosystem development. So, and it was actually recognized by our funders, the EU, as an innovation for our region. So what does that mean? That means that we had quite a number of participants who may not have met every single criteria. As you know, if you're being funded by the EU, the criteria is very stringent. So there were projects that were worthy, did not have all the criteria, and we said, hey, EU, what can we do about this? And they were very flexible, and they worked with us, and they allowed us to create an opportunity for, let's say, businesses who may not have been formally registered. And how did we do that? We encouraged collaboration. So we said, okay, if you are a business and you're an entertainer or you are an artist and your project has been awarded, but you don't have the requisite documentation, we want you to collaborate and partner with an existing organization who does meet the criteria. And this is how we were able to get everyone in the net, from those who are established and like Headline Entertainment to those who have just been sitting in their bedrooms, in their backyard, thinking this is a project that they will never fund. Nobody will ever fund this. As a matter of fact, that was one of the things we said. If you were one of those people sitting in your backyard or in your room with a project that you've had for the last 20 years thinking no one will ever fund this, send it to us. And we got a lot of those projects. And so what happened is that this engendered a level of collaboration that we have, I wouldn't say never seen, but it really increased the type of collaboration that we had across the region between sectors. So you could have been, or industries, you could have been a musician who wasn't registered, but you needed, for example, to somehow access this grant. Well, then you might partner with a book festival or Headline Entertainment, for example. So it wasn't about matching in terms of your industry. It was about collaborating and supporting those who have the ideas, who have the possibility to do this, but with your formal structure. So we have created a lot of innovation within the context of this project. The main objective was to empower our creatives in this region. And one of the most important aspects of the work that we have done with our creatives is to ensure that they are sustainable. The sustainability piece was actually one of the highest weighted pieces in the application. Why? Because we consistently believe that if you are awarded grant funding, you should continue to be awarded grant funding. We are of the belief in the Creative Caribbean Consortia that this should be the last time you're awarded grant funding. We want to ensure that with this funding, you are able to become sustainable beyond the life of the project. And that's very important because as we know in our region, one of the key issues that we have in our sector is access to finance. So it was very, very important for us to ensure that this access to finance was not the final access to finance. So yes, prepare yourself for investment, but prepare yourself for investment beyond the life of the grant. And that is something that we insisted on and that we worked very closely with our grantees on supporting them for that. So I am going to end there because usually I only take 3 minutes. And I don't want to take any longer than that. But what I do want to say is that this is a very important and very critical project that is being run by Headline Entertainment. Many of us have the talent, but beyond the talent, you need the skill. You need to understand the business side of it. You need to understand the technology. You need to know how to turn your 250 million subscribers into money in your pocket. That is the main objective of the program that you will be a part of today, understanding intellectual property, understanding how to generate your own wealth and your own income. Because at the end of the day, the artist is the center of that ecosystem. So we have everybody around you, assisting you, helping you to get where you want to go. But if we take the artist out of the ecosystem, we have no creative economy. And let's be clear about that. So the most important individual in the ecosystem is the artist. However, the artist also needs the knowledge, the skills, and the expertise to manage themselves. It does not mean that you have to do it, but if you have an accountant or you have a manager, you should certainly know what they're doing. You should understand where you need to dot the I's and cross the T's, understand intellectual property. All of those things that they say are beyond us are not beyond us. And when it comes to budgeting and managing the finances, you have to be on top of that. I've had many discussions with artists who have said to me, "Baba, I'm not good at math." This has nothing to do with math. Math is not about budgeting. Okay, budgeting is about common sense, and we all have that. So don't be afraid of the numbers. Don't be afraid of understanding the legalese. All of it is required for you to thrive and to prosper. And with that, I say thank you very much, and have a great day.